Hello beautiful souls, welcome back to my channel. I'm Amanda, and in today's video we're going to discuss the total solar eclipse that is coming up in Aries on April 8th. So my primary intention for this video is to share what the most important thing for us to focus on during the time of the eclipse, what that is, because there is a lot of fear out there. There are a lot of interesting theories and projections and timelines, and this is not where we want to be focusing our energy during the eclipse. So this eclipse is very powerful for many reasons, and I'm going to get into that, the energetics that are working with us. We have 6 planets in alignment on the eclipse and it's conjunct Chiron, directly conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer. So there's a lot of energetics, and it's an eclipse in the North Node, okay? So, and I'm gonna discuss what all of that means, but also collectively, we've been clearing and completing major timelines and cycles individually and for humanity as a whole. So this really does feel like a pivotal point in history, and based on what I've been feeling and other things that I've seen being shared here and there, it's very much affirming what I've been feeling as well. But this is a time of prophecy, and that's a major statement, I know, but we are seeing this uptick and people experiencing prophetic type dreams, but also there's more to it. So I'm gonna get into it. But basically, this is a powerful time, and the number one thing that we need to focus on right now is embodying love and being the anchor of love. So instead of turning our gaze outward to the spectacle, putting our energy outward toward all of these different timelines, really what we are being called to do from the higher timeline perspective is to focus our energy inward, to really reside in the heart. Okay, that is the most important message, but there are other layers here. So I want to presence that because this is a very tumultuous time as well, and there's a lot being stirred up. So how do we work with all this energy, and how do we actually get into that space of love if we're experiencing all of this turmoil and chaos, right? So with this eclipse being conjunct Chiron at 19 degrees of Aries, the Chiron is, we can see Chiron as also like the galactic shaman, the wounded healer, but galactic shaman kind of gives it a nicer ring, because Chiron is a very powerful figure with the archetypal process and journey that he went through. So the healer of the ages, if you will. So this is very much about the phoenix rising from the ashes energy, as Aries is a fire sign. And it's all of the alignments are so fascinating because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and we have all these planets, and including Mars, which is the ruler of Aries, in the sign of Pisces, which is the last sign of the zodiac, which is a very mystical energy, whereas Aries is a very go action energy. So we have these kind of two opposing forces, the kind of physical and the very mystical. So we have this really beautiful conjunction of energies helping us to weave our highest frequencies into alignment with our soul's destiny, is kind of what's coming through right now. So it's a lot to work with all at once, but it is going to put us on our higher timeline, our highest possible timeline, if we allow these situations, these energies, these emotions, these old patterns and wounds that are coming up with this powerful alignment, if we allow them to be released. So eclipses are always game changers, and their effects linger for a long time. They're in 6-month cycles, more or less. So the eclipse really has a 6-month life cycle. So we have the ramping up of energies before the eclipse and the kind of tapering out, but really the effects and the energetics are kind of working with us at a subtle level for 6 months. So these are very powerful times that can really change our lives at a very fundamental level. It can end cycles, and I feel, again, I'll get into this in more depth, that this is a major ending of major cycles for so many of us. A 19-year cycle, yes, but I'm talking about like soul level cycles as well. So it's quite exciting. And the big message also is to surrender, to go with the flow, to trust what's coming up and release what is asking to be released. And to surrender to the divine, what is in your highest timeline. So maybe it feels like something is falling away that you don't want to, and you're meant to release it, but it could be that an aspect of that situation is falling away, to upcycle it, to spiral it up into a higher expression. So don't place any restrictions on what it's meant to look like. Know that a lot of this is happening on an energetic level. And yes, it can create upheaval and total change in our physical reality as well. So clarity will come for many of us with the eclipse, after the eclipse, because a lot has been being stirred up in the collective for quite some time now. We can look at it from the perspective of weeks. We can look at it from this perspective of months since Pluto went into Aquarius. We can look at it from the perspective of years since all of these great conjunctions have been amplifying the energies, and we're moving through this photon belt, high frequency solar energies coming into the planet to activate and upgrade, to purify, to purge all of the old density. And this is what eclipses do too, is they amplify that effect, and they really assist us in that deep clearing and purging and purification process of everything that is not aligned for our soul's destiny. So these are like fated, destined shifts that are happening for us with this eclipse, okay? So trust it. Trust that this is a deep soul healing to usher us into the totality of our soul path, because it is a total eclipse. This is a very big one, right? This is why we're seeing all the hoopla in the media and the social media about what does the X mean, and why is CERN turning on again, and why are they shooting up the rockets during the time, and why are they named such, right? But we're not going to get caught up in all of those timelines and stories about what's happening. The main thing is to focus on being love and focusing our vision on the vision that we want to create, on the vision of humanity that we want to create. I mean, I've seen some crazy things, and we're talking about natural disaster type levels as well. We've already seen an earthquake in places that don't really experience them: New Jersey, New York, the Northeast. Was it just yesterday, the other day? That's not normal. And at the same time, this is creating some kind of realignment. It's a release into realignment. And we hold the highest timeline that whatever upheaval does happen has the most minimum damage and destruction possible, that we get to move through this with ease, that if there is some pole shift occurring, that we've already been experiencing it and it's been slowed down so as to mitigate and minimize the amount of disaster and destruction that occurs. This is something that I've heard about for a while. So if you look at the new maps that people are saying are going to be implemented, well, maybe not overnight, okay? So let's focus on calm transition into this new timeline as much as possible, and trust that you are protected and exactly where you are meant to be for this time, okay? Trust the guidance that you're receiving. This is a time to open up and to release our ego, to surrender our ego will. So the Aries is about it is the North Node. It's very much about, what our will is, what our desires, and what is for us. So it's the I versus the we energy that we're working with on this nodal axis, with Libra being the South Node. So we're being called to step into our personal highest timeline that is also in alignment with the collective. So we are being called to really go deep into our wounds, to really face them head on, and to get clear. So if you have emotions coming up, if you feel triggered by a situation, do the self-reflection. What is this showing you? What is this pattern within you that is ready to be cleared? Before you react, before you project onto the other person, for example, go inward and get clear with yourself about what this is reflecting to you, what is ready to be released. Because yes, we're also in the midst of retrograde season. So we have all of these powerful alignments, including this cosmic stellium, which a stellium is 3 or more planets in one sign, okay? So we have the sun, the moon, the north node, or I should say placements, not necessarily planets, but the sun, the moon, the north node, Chiron, Mercury, and Venus, and I just saw 1111, all in one sign. And Mars is in Pisces, okay? So those are in, they're in Aries, while we have Mars, which is the ruler of Aries, in Pisces, which is the last sign of the zodiac. So this is very much about the beginnings and the endings. It's a very, very profound spiritual opportunity to release the old and for, to allow change for the highest good to happen. So this is deep transformation with the solar masculine energy as well, which is very represented by the Aries fire energy, and it's this masculine initiatory energy that comes with the first sign of the zodiac. So new beginnings, let's go, right? But then we have this Piscean energy that is very much the opposite, and it's very emotional. So it's bringing up all of this to bring us into that beautiful place of wholeness that is weaved from the gifts that come from our wounds, okay? So that we can start this. It's not just a new chapter. I've been getting this download. I've probably said it on a few other videos about writing a whole new book. And this really feels like that pivotal time for us. I literally started writing a book the other week, and like a new one. And I gotta publish all of the books, but it feels like that book is really about the old chapter, and it's like weaving the completion into reality by typing it out is how I was really resonating with why it was coming through so strongly for me to write the way I was writing this book. 20 pages in, but so again, this is a very, very powerful time, and it's like a lot of our subconscious fears are coming up, as well as escapism and addiction patterns. So face it head on. This is the time to really get honest with ourselves and confront our inner demons, if you will. And, where are we still playing the victim? And where are we still allowing those old patterns to repeat themselves? Where are we still engaging in behavior that might be considered self-sabotage, right? So this is all rooted in deeper wounds and fears, deeper trauma patterns that might go back lifetimes or through the ancestral genetic lineage, which is also being cleared to a very high degree right now. So a lot is coming up to be cleared, and that's why we're seeing all the chaos in the world. It's the purging process. It feels worse before it gets better, just like any detoxification. So this is what we're seeing and feeling and experiencing. But, one of the core wounds that's coming up right now is the fear of abandonment. So we have that coming up to the surface. So if you're experiencing triggers in your reality that are triggering that exact wound, which is actually a root of many of our other core wounds, this is like the root of many core wounds, the fear of abandonment. Because what did abandonment mean back in the day? It meant we were, outcasted from the tribe typically. So that would mean death eventually or quickly, depending on how individual you are in your ability to survive on your own. So, or capable. I don't know why individual, but yeah, Aries brings this very individual I am energy. but what is your I am presence calling you to step into as your sovereign self? That's a big word going around these days, sovereignty. Who are you at your core? And releasing the ego identity layers, who were you told you were, first off, from childhood? We're clearing a lot of that, healing a lot of that. And, what are the labels that you have taken on as an individual in this very, very distorted society? And who are you really? And who do you want to be? You get to also then construct a new identity and reality for yourself as you move forward to write this new book. Who is the person writing the book now, right? I'm writing this old book as a different, as a narrator, as a different character who went through it already, but is also not that person anymore. When it was just such a strong intuition to write it in that way, not first person it was a strong intuition to write it as if it were a character in a novel, right? So, and I might just write it like that as a novel. So we'll see. But yeah, it's a very tricky energy to be working with this placement of Mars and Pisces though. So again, give yourself grace, trust the process, surrender to what is coming up. So this is again about the physical versus this mystical energy. So this is about embodiment and what's coming up in our physical body. The nervous system might be revealing stuff to us. So where are we still holding on to that density, to that trauma? While Pisces is that super mystical kind of unreal, dreamlike, invisible energy. So to me, this is very much about releasing that old, as I've been saying, and then anchoring in the new visions for the new reality into our physical self, which is literally the process of embodied ascension, or some people like to say inscension, because really it's meant to be about going into the heart. So ascending our frequency by going within. So that is what this journey is about, anchoring down these higher codes and frequencies through us, activating ourselves as the rainbow bridge, as the rainbow body. We become the rainbow bridge once we activate all of those higher frequencies within. And to do that, we have to let go of the old. So this is about us embodying the visions, the dreams of the future through us, and becoming that creator being that is empowered to bring forth all the beautiful visions from a space of love, a purified state of love. So Mercury retrograde is also enhancing this, of course, by giving us also this opportunity to reflect, to review, to revise how we want to move forward, but also it's kind of like a redo energy. So we get a second chance at some things. We get to complete old projects or old tasks. We get to make things right as well. This can bring a reconciliation energy. So it's not all bad, the retrograde energy. So it's like this chance to repair and redo things in many cases. So Aries North Node, my needs versus your needs. That's what I was trying to get out earlier. It's very much connected to the future and our highest timeline because it is the North Node. We have this first sign of the zodiac is the North Node with a solar eclipse. There is this future highest timeline energy coming through for us to embody. So we get to review where we are not in alignment so that we can move forward in alignment with our highest timeline. So it all works together fascinatingly and so powerfully, so beautifully and magically. And again, this is just another example of how these energetics, these cosmic shifts are assisting us in embodying our deepest soul's truth. So there's also this beautiful energy of like sudden windfalls of good luck, of abundance, of opportunities. It's very much a change energy. So it can be fundamentally like a change of who you are and relationships and jobs and physical locations that you're living in. And, there's all of this energy coming up. And, you know, I'm kind of going through that myself to a degree on certain levels, on maybe all the levels, I don't know. But, you know, I will totally embrace the windfalls and all of that. Thank you. But allow yourself to stay open to the opportunities that present themselves, and trust that if it's coming through at this time, this is a destined, fated situation. These are big times. Again, game changer energy. The sudden clarity might come through, and it might come through that opportunity that comes through that was totally sudden and unexpected, right? So, yeah, and this is very much about closing out the major karmic completions and connections and patterns and all of that. So we're releasing karmic patterns rooted in childhood, especially, and there was something else. There's a lot. Yeah, facing and processing our subconscious fears. Yes, I already said that. But yeah, so with this ending of the karmic clearings, I said everything that I thought I didn't say, actually. With this ending of the karmic clearing, karmic patterns, the karmic timelines, there has been a lot of karmic entanglement that is being cleared from the collective level as well. So we're experiencing this on an individual and a collective level. So we're now creating an opening, a space for divine union activations, for, you know, total embodiment and awakening of our wholeness, of our diamond-like brilliance. So this is what's on the other side, okay? So as we, you know, process the old stuff, take a pause, use this retrograde to pause, and don't make any rash decisions based on feelings of hurt and betrayal that may come up, because remember, that stuff is coming up to be released. So face it, take responsibility for the role that you have played in the situation, and then open yourself up to the infinite possibilities that are flowing through us now to embody our higher self. So this is now bringing me to this prophetic energy that seems to be coming through and amplifying and being confirmed from many people. And now there's multiple different versions of the prophecy-like energy that I have heard and experienced. So I'm just going to share a little bit, but the eagle and the condor prophecy is a big one. I will link a video below as well, a very beautiful video that was basically a discussion with some of the Indigenous leaders and elders that have been really in this work for many, many years, particularly from North and South America, but also from all over the world, the Maoris from Lemuria. But they were bringing forth this idea, and they actually met. The leaders of these indigenous tribes have actually met in physical reality to bring forth, because they were all getting similar feelings that this is the time, this is the powerful time of this eagle and condor prophecy. The eagle represented more of the masculine, the individuated I energy, while the condor represented, so that's like the mind, the mental energy. The condor represented more of the feminine heart, embodied energy. And so it's the meeting of the two to merge into divine union is really what that energy is bringing forth. So it's very, very beautiful energy with that prophecy. And I will link, I'll see if I can link something below. I might even do a whole separate video about it at some point. But I was also just seeing the things here and there, posts here and there about the rise of Atlantis, the rise of Lemuria, and this energy of like mermaid energy being, you know, released and, you know, unshackled underwater. A few people experienced that, and that's what I experienced. And I did a video about this, I think a few weeks ago now, about clearing Atlantean timelines, and that was it. It was mermaid energy. And then I saw somebody else posting about that. And then, you know, people talking about the rise of Lemuria, which is the feminine heart consciousness, and golden Atlantis, which was the golden civilization, a golden era. So this frequency and energy, whether it's literal in the reality, some people are talking about land masses rising from the waters, and I don't know about that happening on Monday, but I'm not gonna say, but this prophetic energy, there seems to be a lot of similarities reflected in the dreams that people are having. So symbolically, what it does represent, which I believe fully, wholeheartedly, is it is the rise of these frequencies of consciousness that are now fully anchored in, and that the pathway is being cleared for us to begin to anchor in this blueprint for a new form of civilization onto the planet, to resurrect the old consciousness that is both old, ancient, and future. So this is a new consciousness that is being woven into our planet as well. We have new frequencies coming in. So we're remembering and resurrecting what has been forgotten. But we're also anchoring in these really beautiful frequencies, and we're weaving it together to create a new reality that is both physical and entirely spiritual. So for me, I had, and maybe I will do another video, but in brief, I had a couple of dreams that were very prophetic. They felt very prophetic, and they both had to do with water. This is very much a year of water energy, and we have this eclipse, which is the fire. So it's a very interesting duality, but they're the merging of opposites, right? So it works. And what I saw was this rising of the waters, and there was, are we going to make it? Are we going to be able to emerge out of the deep watery depths, representative of the emotional deep watery depths of like scorpionic energy, where we're trying to get to the surface, we're struggling to get to the surface, to breathe air, to get onto dry land, to get secure and stable in our foundation. And the waters rose, and then in a flash, they had receded, and it was this pure heaven on earth energy. I'm talking literal rainbows with orcas jumping out of the water. The whale frequencies are their frequency holders, and it was joyful. The energy, the atmosphere was just pure love, pure joy, pure lightness. Like everybody was at a festival, but this was just normal day-to-day life. That was the frequency, like pristine waters, pristine skies. It was really beautiful. And then in another dream, that felt rather prophetic as well, it was kind of like the sky broke, like, you could say the firmament, as some people, believe in that. The firmament, but it was like it cracked, and then the water started pouring down, and we were in a house. But then, and so obviously that would be very scary, right? It's like the entire ocean coming down on you. But what happened was everything flipped. So representative pole shift, representative of the matrix being righted, the inverted matrix being righted once again, was how I initially interpreted that. And then everything was perfect and peaceful and harmonious, and the skies were clear. And I think there was another rainbow in the sky in that dream as well. Lots of rainbow energy. And the eagle and the condor, there's a connection with the rainbow warrior prophecy as well. So, a lot of prophetic energy coming through. So we are really at a pivotal time. So as the rainbow bridges that we are being called to be, the most important thing to do is to stay in your heart. So during the eclipse, I highly encourage you and humbly request that if you can, in the moments when the eclipse is, it's going to kind of be happening at different time zones, but whenever it feels most aligned for you to tune in during that 4 minutes and 28 seconds, 28 point something seconds, be in your heart and focus on love. And prepare yourself if you can beforehand by settling in, using a little breath work, to clear your energy field, to clear your mind of the fears, of the limitations, of the doubts, because there's a lot of fear and confusion going on and coming up from within. So allow that to be released. Allow yourself to come into a state of peace and stay in the heart. Come into the heart and focus on love. Focus on the vision of a beautiful, harmonious world where we are stewards of the planet and all of her creatures, and where we are all living in abundance with all of our needs met, because there is plenty. There is limitless abundance available for all of us. It's all just been misdirected, misused, mismanaged, and that is the old timeline that is now complete. If we claim that collectively and focus our energy on the new, that is a timeline that will manifest for humanity. So it is frequency. So it's all about frequency. So stay in the frequency of love. Cultivate that within yourself. Joy is a very powerful frequency, and authenticity resonates 4,000 times more powerfully than love. Crazy, right? But you have to move through love to get to authenticity, and your most authentic state is one where you are feeling full of joy and peace and harmony and bliss. So embody those frequencies. I just saw 3113. So embody those frequencies. Notice what is being reflected to you to be released, and allow yourself to move forward and operate in that state of peace, because that is the foundation. Okay, that's the root chakra key that came through in my golden keys to abundance when I was in the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid. It was peace as the foundation for all, because the root chakra is all about our safety, security, stability, and that's being uprooted for many people. But if we can stay in a vibration of peace and trust and knowing that we are safe and held and supported, then everything can begin to shift, and we can anchor down through us this new reality, this new world based on peace. So if you would like any assistance in going deeper into this and clearing out your energy field, by the way, I would so love to hear, I always say this, like too late, but I would so love to hear, what you've been experiencing, what's been coming up for you, how these energies have been resonating with you, and what your vision of the future is. I would so love to hear all of that. But yeah, I have a breathwork course that is actually part of the Mastery membership, and it's the same price. So you can try out the full membership, and I will link that below. But breathwork for me has been one of the most powerful tools. And then of course I have my expansion membership, which includes everything I've created, and it includes weekly calls. So there's a lot of support in there, and all of the very transformational material that is part of the Expansion Path to Mastery program that I created. And I am also next week hosting the water element as part of the Embody Your Inner Mythical Being, as the elemental beings with the mermaids, and next week is the water. So the unicorns we did the other day with the air element, we did breath work, and there was a lot of purification energy. So that's already uploaded. The replay is uploaded inside the course portal. So if you sign up, you'll get immediate access to that, and then you can join us live for the rest of the temples. So if you join Expansion, that's also included in Expansion. And the Mastery membership includes a bunch of other things. So I'll link it all below, and do let me know in the comments below how you've been feeling with all of these energies and what's coming up for you. And I'm just sending you so much love right now. And just remember that a lot of the gifts are held within the darkness. So I say love and light all the time, but that's not to bypass everything else that comes from the void space, the womb space of creation itself, which is actually held in the darkness. So in love and light and all the magic that arises from within, I will see you soon. And I so appreciate the likes, subscribes as well. So see you soon.